It's just a good thing all the time. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Aren't we just excited to know that today is day 6 of Etsy Shenanigans, and we are just going to get right into it. We're continuing on with the Q&A of the earnings call, so you'll see things switch up to the text base as I get myself situated here to make sure that we are live. And that always takes just a moment on my iPad to make sure. And I think the sound was quite a bit better yesterday, so that's what I'm thinking is about to happen. And I think everybody that goes live on OBS may have this issue. I'm not really too sure, but man, oh man, it takes a while for things to click in. And then the gurus say, never mind it, doesn't matter, let it kind of roll off and just keep talking and get right into your content. But there's just something emotional about not knowing if you are live or not, because I will tell you that I have done this enough times where sure enough I think that I'm live, and then it ends up that there's some other little thing that I have not done right. So here we go again on this. Yeah, there's a terrible delay. So let me bring OBS down. Let's go to the live streaming and see what is happening. And there we are. Finally it clipped in. Finally. How long have I been live? Is it going to give me the minutes? Yeah, minute 34. Minute 34. So don't need to delay any further. And we'll get right into the words over at Medium. And we ended up talking about catching customer attention and knowing something about marketing lean, a lot more into marketing. We think we spend a rational amount of money on marketing. We think we're very rational, is how we ended up. About what is our cost of capital, what do you get if you invest $1, and how do we make sure every time we invest $1 we get more than our cost of capital back. We think, or I think, have a lot of science and a lot of discipline around. The other thing I'll say is, minimizing waste is really important value that we have always held. We are in our 7th year of efficiency. Now, every single quarter, we look at every single dollar we spend. And so if you look at the KTLO, the keep the lights on activity required to support an organization of our size and scale it, it is a pretty material effort to run a business of our size, scale, and complexity. We have resources to grow. They're not infinite. And so every year we pick a few battles and we really lean into those with our resources. You could rightly say why last year and the year before you were not focused more on app download. App download is a great idea. You should be doing it, and I couldn't agree more. It's a great idea relative to the other things we were shipping last year. It didn't make the cut, and we, every year, making very tough decisions around one of the few things we really want to lean into, that we think are bold, that we really think are going to drive growth. By the way, the work the team did last year, we have conviction. We have a ton of measurement. A lot of measurement, a lot of measurement to say we think drove up $1.5 billion of incremental value from the products that the team shipped last year. And we have a lot of conviction that the work they're going to do this year with a 12% smaller team is going to drive even more so. We think the work we're doing is meaningful, driving growth. It's driving strong ROI, and we're going to keep leaning into things that we think get customers to reconsider. They think they know Etsy, and here's things you didn't know about Etsy that you get to want to come back and come back more often. Just want to slip in a couple quick data points. First of all, the definition of MVP is most valuable. It's minimum viable product. so that our shorthand for shipping, not being agile, not waiting for the whole thing to be fully baked. Second of all, there's a couple of data points that just point to strength. I mean, I think that one of the things we feel internally is that we're building really great product and we have really great marketing initiatives, and we're walking straight uphill into the wind with these macro pressures bearing down on us. And when the winds shift, we are going to be very well poised for, phenomenal product offering. And we have a terrific differentiation from other players out there. And the couple of data points I would point to when we look at our household income differentiation between lower household incomes and upper, and especially the highest household incomes, those above 200,000, we see continued separation, that the higher household incomes are actually growing, and so when in the lower household incomes are not so, you can see that behavior quite clearly, that people are looking for discounts. They're spending on essentials and things like health care, gas, food, and whatever. They don't have money left in their bank account for things that are highly discretionary. Secondly, our GMS per buyer is still 25% higher than in 2019. And the reason that's important is if you look at, I don't know if you've got a chance to listen to the whole call, but we showed a slide and you can look after that shows consumer discretionary spending is coming down and down and down. And it's not all that way down to the levels it was yet in 2019. It's still about 8% higher than it was then, but our spend GMS per buyer is 25% higher than it was then. So we're still strong amongst it like a giant. Want to pick your analogy? Yes, I've already messed up our language enough for we're still quite strong, and we're laying down these initiatives brick by brick that there just aren't really getting the benefit, the true consumer demand that we would expect to get once we're not facing these strong network pressures. One quick follow just on the big game. I think you call it spending, almost said the super name, but you now have 60 to 90 days of kind of judge the impact of in all brand spending. You really leaned into brand spending. What have you seen as the impact? Where has it worked? Where hasn't it worked? Is it frequency, occasional buyers? What new buyers? What is it? So if we're talking about what we are talking about, the big game ad in particular, or are we talking about gift mode kind of more generally, I'm talking about the big game, but I'm also talking about brand advertising, like that big push on brand. So in big game, I'm happy we did it. It did what we wanted it to do, which was to ignite a conversation around the nation about Etsy's new product gift mode. And that was the goal. I want to compliment the team. We managed to secure the single most viewed spot during the entire game, and our ad tested super well for things like recall and breakthrough and generating interest to try. So I think the team's execution of it was really good, but the strategic goal was we have something to say, and that is that Etsy is the place to go for gifting. And we're launching this new thing, and I think that big game ad did a good job. And we shared some of that in the call about 200% increase in conversations, mentioning Etsy, significant increase in people associating Etsy as a place to help find gifts. And if we look at gifting GMS, that grew significantly faster than site-wide GMS and was positive in the first quarter. All of those, I think, are helpful data points. Does that mean we would do it again next year? I'm not sure. It really would depend on, do we have something we really want to announce, and do we have something we really want to say? But getting back to your first question, bold and fast has really taken root. It's you hear it in the half of Etsy every single day. It's this bold is this fast, and a little story behind the team pitched me in the summer of 2023 and said, we have a great idea for gift mode. We think it's going to be amazing, and we think we can do it. Great, it's going to be bold, and we propose to launch it in the big game of 2025. And Josh, if you're prepared to be bold, this would be a way to do it. And I said, I'm prepared to be bold, and I'll meet you halfway, because we're going to do it in the big game of 2024. And that team built and shipped that in 4 months, and I think it's a great example. I'm proud of the work that the team did, and as we said, it's the kickoff, not the mic drop. There's now a lot more work that's going to happen to make gift mode better and better and better, but it's that kind of urgency and the willingness to place a bet that I think is exactly what we're talking about now. Big game ad is not going to make or break the company. It works or it doesn't work. We don't do it in the next quarter. It's fine. You know, we're not betting the company on these things. We're putting a few million extra dollars into a spot, and from what we learn, and you know, we'll see whether we do it next year or not. But it would be predicted on having some important launch that we really want to talk about. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to go ahead and stop there. I believe there's a couple more questions to go, but let me kind of put myself on mute a little bit, and you will take a look at this view of me while I put myself on mute. Be back in just a moment. I'll be on mic in just a second. From what I can tell, we will probably have one more day of going through the earnings Q&A, and then they produced a PDF that walks you through the actual earnings presentation. So we may do that just to kind of get a cleaner look of what the company put out. I've kind of looked at it, and I'm not too sure that it's going to come across in the vertical format, but I think what I'll do probably is look for it right now, make sure that I have saved it as a download, and I'm pretty sure I sent it to myself, but I'll have to do that and see what we're up to with that. If it doesn't show up on the vertical, there's not too much that I can offer from there. Maybe what we'll do is kind of revisit and make sure that we understand exactly what was said in the Q&A portion. What's really curious about this, when you start to read the transcripts, and instead of having an opinion of your own, but you're actually going through the a method of learning through the C-suite, so that then you can only be repeating what the power is saying, where your opinion, as disappointed as you may be as a shop owner or really thrilled to be a shop owner, that sways your opinion of the company itself. And it's always a good idea to revisit these companies that people rely on in order to facilitate, their income. Weird, huh? Okay, so with all of that, we like to keep things nice and on the shorter side, so we will talk to everyone soon. Bye-bye now.